Sanjay, Amit, Asif, Karma. Glad to connect with all of you. How are you all doing today?
All good, all good. Thank you so much.
Lovely to connect with you. I want to start off with the director, Amit, not just a director. You've also produced it, you've also written it, conceptualized it. So it all began with you. And how did it all begin? Tell me.
So first of all, it's co-created and co-written with my wife, who is also my kind of creative partner, Anupama Mins. So we worked on this whole thing together. The only thing I did alone was the direction. But it all began actually where I've been thinking about it that in my childhood, I grew up in Africa, and we had a lot of chickens. And I remember when, unfortunately, some of those chickens used to die. I used to wonder, what happened to them? What happened? Did it just evaporate? Where did it go? And I realized over the years, I've been very fascinated with the idea of death and what happens after. And I think somewhere that idea was cooking in my head always, that, what happens to the soul afterwards. I also was brought up in a house where my dad was an engineer, and he was very practical. He used to look at everything very practically. My mother was a bit more religious, and she used to follow the rituals and stuff like that. And so I grew up realizing that there's no one fixed way of looking at life. You have at least these two approaches to life. And somehow I think this idea of two approaches to life was always there, and this idea about death and something beyond death was always there. And I think I ended up kind of combining these elements to package it in the package of a thriller. I love thrillers, and I love the idea of keeping the audience, on the edge of their seat and wondering what's going to happen next. And so, I think all these things together, cooked together, and we got the last hour.
How interesting. You usually have questions like, why did the chicken cross the road, or what came first, the chicken or the egg? But now, what happened to the chicken in Africa? We all want to know. And who knew? And the whole seed became an Amazon special. That's really interesting. And Asif, what was it that drew you to this story? Was it the chickens that drew you to this story, the mystery of the chickens?
The chicken story has come up before. I have to say, I've heard this chicken tale. We've been working together for a long time. We were both students when we first met. So we're talking about, 1996, 1997 is when we first met, and we started working and have collaborated on many movies and now TV series and short films and various things over the years and around the world. So we've been really lucky. And I know that Amit has always had a very interesting and complex way of telling stories. It's the way his brain works. My brain works in a very different way, but he's always been fascinated by time and playing with time and parallel stories. And so, every idea that Amit gets is always really convoluted. And I always feel like, I don't understand it. Can we simplify it? But I think that's the way he sees the universe. And I think that's what's so special about this series is it's Amit's way of seeing the world. And then one of the other things that we've always had in common is we're always interested in kind of where does a story take place, which location, which environment. And for this one, Amit wanted to go somewhere new and kind of set the story in a place in a part of India that maybe people haven't seen that often. So yeah, the project kind of goes back a long way, and the idea of collaborating is a very kind of long history between us, but also this idea of playing with time is something that I know he's always been interested in and fascinated in. And what can you do if you had something happening in parallel, or if you could go back and fix something, and how would it change the future? That I love that idea. I love that concept. I could never write anything like that, and that's what I think Amit and Anupama did such a fantastic job here on this series.
Well, this is Amazon's first supernatural thriller, and safe to say, as far as genres go, it's not very well explored in cinema or in series in India. And Amit, why is that so? And did that deter you, or did that encourage you to go ahead and make this?
As for why it is like that, I think it's a very difficult question. It's your chicken and egg question. Is it because there aren't too many things that really explore it in a really deep and nice way? Or is it that people aren't interested? And maybe that's really difficult to kind of, figure out which one is which. But as far as me seeing it, whether that was a challenge or not, I mean, I think to be honest, I just, I get an idea and I'm excited by it and I just want to make it. And I think it's not so much about, whether how will people react to it or not, because in a certain way, I feel like I'm an audience myself, and so if I'm excited by an idea, and then like, if I'm pitching it to Asif and he thinks, oh yeah, that sounds cool, then I know that, there are enough people like us who will like it, and I'm a human being, and if I'm enjoying it, surely everybody else will.
All right, and Sanjay, it's lovely to see you exploring these kind of roles in this phase of your career. So does that mean can I assume that you're enjoying this phase of career where you get to explore all this variety?
Absolutely. For me, this has been something really, really special the last 4 or 5 years, where my career, the way it's shaping up, I was going through a transition period, which happens a lot in the film industry, that you are playing these young, dynamic, romantic roles, action roles, and then you go through a phase where neither you are too old to play a different character or too young to play, a romantic or a so-called, action film role or something. Instead of doing riff-raff roles, something which was not going to excite me, I started doing production. And I waited. I did some ensemble films like Luck by Chance and Chandar, which came up my way. But I didn't do anything that came in front, because it was not exciting. So I got into production. But OTT came like I don't even know. It's like, I feel it's just made for actors like me who are going through this transition, and you get to play such fantastic roles. You get to do work with directors and people like Asif and Amit. So it's something really, really special for me, that at this stage of my career, I'm in front of such an elite team sitting over here, and to be part of the same project as Amit and Asif, it's a privilege. So I cannot be in a better place the way I am right now. It's just not the amount of work I'm doing. I'm working with extremely intelligent and interesting people, and I'm doing some fantastic roles I'm getting at this stage of my career, which probably wouldn't have happened, I'll be very honest, because we all know Bollywood goes for the star system. Ye saleable hai, ye saleable nahi hai. And I think so that's the best thing about OTT. And when you're casted, the good thing you feel as an actor is you're casted as an actor, because you're not casted ke you're saleable. You're casted because you are going to play that role. And I like to add this to this. I've been working for the last 27, 28 years. Last hour was the first time I did an audition for a role. When Amit came to my house, I was meeting him for the first time. Honestly, I had not seen his work, but I spoke to him for 5 minutes. There was something so intriguing about him. He was so honest of the way he was talking. And he clicked some pictures of me, kept on please, I hope you don't mind. I said, no. I was wondering why he's clicking me. And then he said, no, I think you were a very good actor. I saw you recently. I saw your last stories. You were so good in it. But I only have a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, I audition all my actors. And I'd never auditioned. But his honesty was there was so much innocence in it, the way he said it. And I said, okay, I'm game for it. That's a different story. I did the audition and he went for Recce. I didn't got a call for 40 days and I thought he's rejected me. But that's Amit for you. And then one day I got a call, and I'm so glad and fortunate that I'm part of this wonderful show.
Well, yes, it looks like a very exciting show, and it's so interesting to know that you audition. Do you feel also, Sanjay, that at this stage you're getting more fans now? I know I'm a bigger fan after watching the fabulous Lives of Bollywood. I think I recognize the throne that you're sitting on as well, Mahit's throne. So are you finding getting new fans now in the space?
I'll be very honest. I never say things. If you've seen what I don't say things for effect. What I'm enjoying most is I'm getting some really good work, and I'm getting work when people meet me. We want you to do the role because we feel that you will give the best. You will justify this role. So I'm enjoying that thing in my ears. When I hear that, I'm enjoying that the most. Obviously everybody enjoys fans. I still, half the time I get these tags are of my songs, be it Aati Nahi or be it Akhiyan Milai or all these things. But this thing to hear beat directors where they are casting you and when they say they have come to meet you to cast you is because they feel you can do this role. I think so for me, that is the biggest high that I'm going through right now.
Congratulations on that. And Karma, a big high leading the series as well. You lead the series along with Sanjay Kapoor, a big role. How did you land it?
I didn't, yeah. This is what I didn't choose it. Amit chose me.
But you didn't land the
So-
role. I was like, sorry.
No. I did, but I think it was down to Amit actually. It was down to the fact that he was ready to cast in a particular kind of a manner. And since we went to film school, and since Amit is my senior from there, I could say more or less bullied me into trying to get me to do this. So, so I think it was more of Amit sticking his neck out to actually cast somebody in a much more authentic role rather than me wanting to do it.
Well, absolutely. There's so much diversity by way of the casting, and choosing an actor, a mainstream, and an actor to lead the series from the Northeast is a brave choice. To opting for diversity casting. It shouldn't be termed brave, but it is in our industry.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that when I first met Asif, we were both in film school. He was in film school in London, and I was in film school at FTI Pune. And he was making, which at that time seemed really crazy for me. This guy from London coming to India, trying to shoot a short film in the middle of some small village. With hardly any money, and it's on a big scale. It's not like, oh, it's a small film in the middle of one house. It's like, we're going to have this, it's going to have people running around, it's going to have rain, it's going to have magical sunset. And but it was not like, oh, well, where are you going to find the actor? Oh, we just want to find them there. And I think I was introduced to this idea of just picking people who fit the role, irrespective of where you find them. I mean, the lead that we found for his short film Sheep Thief was a wandering thief, I think, almost. And we just happened to see him, and Asif loved him, and we auditioned him, we tried him, worked for a while, and did a fantastic job. I think that left a lasting impression in me that it's not to do with who you are, but it's to do with what you as a director can see in that person, being able to bring your character to life. And that's all that matters. And somehow I think after that, everything that I've done, I've tried to kind of stay true to that. I don't know how to work in any other way, I guess. And so I don't know brave, but that's just my way of working. So I guess.
I think maybe I would like to rephrase brave to authentic. It's a very authentic casting decision for sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I agree with that.
And the series is shot in the Northeast, which is a feast for the eyes, so unexplored on screen. And Karma, how was the experience of shooting there?
I mean, for me, it was like I was home. So for me, it was good. It was a good experience. I think more importantly, I think the camaraderie that was there on shoot with Sanjay, myself, Shahana, Shaylee, of course, led by Amit, and the entire technical crew. I think it just makes life so much more simpler and easier for a long shooting with such long schedules and difficult terrain and circumstances. So I think that is what put it together. I think the crew was very close in it because we spent so much of time together. And so I think, and Sikkim as a place is it's a warm place. It might be a cold location, but the people are warm. And it makes life so much more easier when you're going and shooting places like this.
Well, I've always wanted to visit, and now I'm even more curious about it. And when you're shooting a supernatural thriller, I'm sure the first question that on everyone's minds is, do you all personally believe in the supernatural? So who among you doesn't believe in it?
I kind of believe in energies. I think so. They keep on saying about positive energy. I believe in that whatever you want, I don't mean want in the sense of materialistic things, but you need to be positive in life. I believe in a positive energy vibe. I may not exactly believe in supernatural, but I definitely believe that if you give in positive energy, you will get positive energy back here. So I definitely believe in energy.
Sanjay, that is very Gen Z. You know, the Gen Z keeps saying good vibes only.
Right,
So
yeah.
I
But
think
it makes
that's what
makes a big difference. I'm telling you, Sikkim is a very, very beautiful place. We were there for 3 months. But to be away from home for 3 months in this kind of place, whether it's Sikkim, anywhere is very, very tough. But I think so. There was so much positive energy in this unit that what I still remember when Asif came for the shoot. I still remember making this statement. He said, "How's it going?" And I still remember. I don't know whether Asif remembers it. I said, "You've come after 2 months, and we are still eating dinner together. That means we are having a good time. We are not sitting in our rooms alone. Separate people are sitting. Ke yaar, abhi pura din inke saath tha, I need my time." We were still all eating together after 60 days of shooting. So I think so. That's what I mean is positivity, energy. And that's the reason the show, when you see it is the show it is. But there is the kind of chemistry when you see the scenes between Dev and Aru. There is a lot of undercurrent warmth in it also. They could be talking about anything, but there is in the frame you can see the warmth in it. I don't know how to put it, but that's the positivity which we had. So that's what I meant by positive energy.
I definitely think your answers had a lot of positivity in it. I believe in the positivity in the sets for sure. But I'm asking you about the supernatural element. You know, a lot of times I read a lot of trivia when this film was shot, something happened on the set. So when you guys were shooting, was there anything dramatic that happened on the sets?
The most in between shots when we had time, Amit used to only look at me. He said, "Ke aaj dinner pe kya khayenge aaj?"
No, I meant like a ghostly presence or something. In
No,
like
but
all
the thing
these-
is, but Shilpa, the one thing is that I think we are aligning the idea of supernatural with ghosts right now, which I don't think is what the series is looking to do. I think it's more of a crime thriller that is based on a supernatural foundation,
Oh.
which does not have anything to do with ghosts.
Oh, don't tell me anything more, then they'll become a spoiler.
I'm not telling you anything. I'm just telling you the premise
Yeah.
doesn't have horror in it. It's not a jump scare kind of a show. So
Yeah, like
it's more of an edge of your seat thriller.
Other journalists and I was saying, you won't find a woman with ulta tang in ulta chair in this. It's not that kind of a show.
Yeah.
It's a very
but
real,
how
authentic
handle
show.
that?
Yeah, so it's that kind of a show. So there's no ghost in it. Yeah.
How is the supernatural in London, Asif, right? Because we're all sitting here in India. We have one perspective. What's it look
I
like?
mean, I was thinking about that. I mean, one of the things about filmmaking and kind of television is that you basically, your job is to use every kind of trick, every tool at hand, where music, writing, editing, everything, cinematography and design. But one of the great tools is kind of something otherworldly, something slightly magical, something that isn't like normal, which I think cinema and television can do, when done well, can do really, really well. And I think that's what this series does. Is the whole idea is to take a kind of concept or a conceit and to make it just seem normal. Like, yeah, of course this could happen. And then to have the characters and to have the story and the kind of performances that somehow make you buy it. And I think that's why they've all made a really good point, which is this isn't about kind of ghosts and spooky, scary, supernatural. It's about, no, the world that we all live in, there are other layers that not everyone can see. Not everyone comprehends, or if some people see it, they go, "Oh, that's just rubbish. You imagined it." And other people go, "No, there was something going on there." And we all have our version of it, and it's all something. Again, I go back to Amit and I have on all of the work that we've done together or separately. We've both separately be interested in these concepts of what are these other things going on that you might not quite comprehend, but are around us. I live in London, but I feel that. But a lot of that comes from my Indian cultural background, perhaps, of spirits and religion and faith or spirituality. So all of this is kind of mixed into it, if that makes sense, And I think that's what this series is all about. The idea is to kind of deal with the supernatural, or to deal with this other kind of somehow spiritual other layer that we exist within, but in a new way. And for characters who can feel it and see it, and Kama's character particularly who senses things which other people may not be believing in, but then the idea is for the audience to kind of get drawn into the universe and to go, yeah, I could buy that. And if I understood that, or if I had the right access to those emotions or those feelings or that sensibility, what would you do? What would you change? How could you affect, the future or whatever has happened to you? That's what we're talking about, if that makes sense.
Well, it's been a very interesting chat, and I am drawn even more to this series, and I can't wait to find out what happens in it. Thank you so much for connecting with me, all of you. And please
Thank
do
you.
take care of yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you,
Lovely
Shilpa.
chatting.
You take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.